So critical elements here, they take a spring, unknown spring constant. Students displace the object from equilibrium and measure the period of oscillation of the object. The period, it's used to determine which of the following select two. So this is a question that would be difficult to answer. If we know the mass of the object, we could use it to determine the spring constant of the spring, and that is true. Now this actually, one needs to have done Unit 6 to know that, unless we've done a lab on doing this, so this is an old kind of, a pretty old question. We can also use it to determine the inertial mass. Now, the spring constant we're known, it's not going to help us determine the gravitational mass of the object. To determine the acceleration caused by gravity, again, no. So how this works, if we, in the lesson we spoke about how we determine the mass of an astronaut when they're in outer space, and that's inertial mass. And the way we do that is we said it's using Newton's second law. It's about F net equals ma. Well, the net force is related to the spring constant. It's related to the spring. So if we know that there is a certain amount, we stretch the spring, and we know the force, then we could use that to determine the spring constant, and that's why choice A is acceptable. But by the same token, if we know the force that's generated on the spring, and we have an astronaut in outer space, and we pull that astronaut a certain distance so we know what the force is, and we measure the acceleration, we can determine the mass. And that's how we could use this to determine the inertial mass of the object.